It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-why discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams. So we got a lot of weather to talk about. We've seen rain this week. We've seen fog this week. And today we're expecting it to give us summer vibes. How does a heat index in the middle 90s sound to you? Okay, I hear all of the booing, all of the hissing. I got to dodge the tomatoes you're throwing. Okay, I'm dodging them. But maybe instead of tomatoes, you'll throw some flowers my way, because I've got good news as we go into the next couple of days. The humidity is going to drop. The morning temperatures are going to get cooler, almost kind of chilly. I mean, some of you may consider a sweater if you're stepping out the door early in the morning over the weekend. Let's take a look at those changes and more as we take a look at the forecast. So this morning. We're going to actually take this full screen because we've seen so many changes in our sky just this morning. This is in Biloxi. On the left, you've got downtown Biloxi. On the right, you've got the Biloxi Back Bay. And we're going to hit play on this time lapse, which started at 4 in the morning, and everything was all right. But then the fog really got thick around sunrise. And now during the 8 o'clock hour, we've actually seen the conditions improve. I'm happy to report that for most areas, conditions have improved in Biloxi, Gulfport, not finding that fog much anymore. Now, during the 8 o'clock hour, even though the fog has cleared for Gulfport and Biloxi, and we're also continuing to see clear conditions in Jackson County, we might actually still see some patches of it in parts of Hattiesburg, Bogalusa, Picayune, The Kill, Diamond Head. So don't be surprised if you find some patches of fog on the western half of the area, but that's actually going to clear away as we get toward later this morning. So other than the possible dense fog this morning, the rest of the day looks pretty nice. We've obviously got some sunshine, and eventually that sun will help us to warm into the upper 80s. And because it's so humid, it's going to feel even hotter. So we'll talk rain chances in a moment, but I do want to talk about the heat index because this is, I think, one of these kind of late summer days here when it's going to feel hotter than you would expect for early October. We'll look at the heat index number. Noon feeling like 93 degrees. 2 p.m. feeling like 95 degrees. 4 p.m. feeling like 94 degrees. So this is really not what you would expect it to feel like. It definitely does not feel like fall at all for y'all today in South Mississippi. Now, of course, we've got the block party today in Biloxi for Cruisin the Coast, and y'all are going to be cruising up a sweat here. While this morning, maybe a few patches of fog are going to eventually clear away. Rest of the day, getting into the warmth with temperatures into the 80s. So if you're going to be in the middle of the day in Biloxi, you got temperatures mid and upper 80s, but the heat index middle 90s because it's so humid. Rain, I'm thinking we're going to do okay. For the Biloxi, the cruising event there, the block party, you're probably all right. Rain chances only 20%. Now, later in the afternoon, they do start to tick up. And that's why I want to switch gears and head across town to Diamond Head, the Blessing of the Classics, which takes place this afternoon. The chance for rain is a little higher. You can see that 40% showing up there. So if you do have some plans to be out and about in South Mississippi during Wednesday p.m., look at the computer modeling as we make this a little larger on your screen. Got a few spots that are showing some pop-up showers based on the raw model information. So that gets our rain chance up into that 40% range. So any rain that pops up today is basically ahead of this cool front, and there's a zone here where because the front is approaching from the north, it might not just be just a pop-up shower, but there might be enough lift from that front to actually allow for a few thunderstorms in the mix too. So don't be surprised if there's some thunderstorms along with some of the showers. The modeling really doesn't show much though, so it's not like there's going to be this line of storms with this front. I don't think that's what we're going to see. And eventually the front arrives early Thursday, And we get into some drier stuff behind this front. So that's what's going to set up for us as we go into Thursday. The later we go into the day, the more we're going to expect to eventually get some drier conditions across our area. So that's how the front will actually help to change our weather pattern as we go from today with the summer vibes to tomorrow when we get this front to move in and help to pull some lower humidity into the area. And this is how the rain chances are going to come down too. With the air turning drier, it will be more difficult for rain to form. So even though today we've got that 40%, tonight a 30%, we do finally drop off to, looks like a 20% by the time we get to your Thursday. And then tomorrow night down to 10%. So overall, not that bad as far as rain chances are concerned. Now, this front, not only talking about the drop in the rain chances, but maybe a drop in temperature for some. Look at this. We've got this dome, this heat dome, this hot high pressure that's sitting right on top of the Gulf Coast region. But this front is going to come in from the north, and it's going to try to pull in some cooler air to parts of the region. Here's the thing, though. If this cooler air were coming straight on down, we'd be talking about a fall blast of air, but we're not. You see, instead of this cool air coming straight down, it's actually going to be moving from west to east. So we don't really get the bullseye of this cooler air. That actually is going to be for our neighbors to the north. So that's where this kind of the fall blast is going to be up in the Great Lakes region, New England. But it at least helps to scoot this hot bubble of high pressure a little bit more off toward the west. So by the time we are into the Friday and the weekend time frame, you know, you've got this trough, this upper trough, allowing for cooler temperatures to come to the East Coast. But this heat dome is actually moved well to our west. It's basically near the Texas-Mexico border, and we're doing much better. We could see some lower humidity, so that's what that says, those small words on the screen. Lower humidity for us down closer to the coast, even though the main cool wave will be up to the north. We could see down here on the coast just a bit of drier, lower humidity as we head Friday into the weekend. So here's a look at that lower humidity. We've got two lines that we're tracking for you. Gulfport in the yellow, Wiggins in the orange. It's always going to be less humid in Wiggins than in Gulfport because Wiggins is farther from the Gulf than Gulfport. But in general, on Wednesday, we're all pretty muggy. But then once we go to Thursday, we're all dropping from around muggy to a little bit less than that. You'll feel the drop earlier in Wiggins, right? Wiggins gets out of the muggies by Thursday afternoon. Places on the coast like Gulfport, Biloxi, you don't get out of the muggies until basically Thursday night. So depending on where you are, you'll feel the difference tomorrow, or you might have to wait till tomorrow night. Now, by the time we wake up on Friday, everyone is into the less than muggy category. Gulfport, your less than muggy. Wiggins, downright pleasant on Friday. I mean, just bite an apple. It's crisp. It's fall. Fall Friday in Wiggins, in our inland areas. It is going to be downright pleasant and fall-like. And we eventually get there in Gulfport. It might take to Friday afternoon. Looks like Friday morning you're still holding on to the muggies, but Friday afternoon you join Wiggins in the pleasant stuff. Over the weekend, Saturday, it's basically pleasant all day for Gulfport and Wiggins, for all of South Mississippi. You've got it basically pleasant all day. And Sunday also looking like it's going to be pleasant all day. So that's what we can look forward to if you're trying to time out exactly when we are going to see this drop in the humidity. There it is. It depends on where you are. If you're north of I-10, you might notice it as early as tomorrow. If you're down along the coast, you might have to wait until tomorrow night or Friday. And then we're all stuck in it. Friday all day, for the most part, Saturday and Sunday also all day. Now, this time of year, when you get the dry air to come in, it makes it cooler during the overnight hours. And like I told you, the core of the cold is likely going to stay to our north. This is another temperature map that might help to illustrate that a little bit better. So the core of that cold air really hitting the Great Lakes today and hitting the New England areas tomorrow. We're kind of on the warmer side here along the coast. The orange color indicating warmth, the blue color indicating coolness. And that cooler air basically is sliding from west to east. And our warmer air is actually sliding away off toward the east, or rather off from the east toward the west. So that's how we can get, you see how that orange, let me rewind. You see, we still got the orange stuff on us tomorrow. So that means if you're going to be out and about on Thursday, it still could be kind of hot in the afternoon, or at least very warm in the afternoon. But once we go from Thursday to Friday, the orange stuff is gone. The warm air is sliding west of us because it's actually kind of getting pushed away by some cooler breeze from the north and east on Friday behind the front. So that's how we can get to some of that less warm air. I gotta say though, for our neighbors to the north, it's gonna be so cold that there actually are freeze alerts. There's a freeze warning for Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, parts of Michigan. There's a freeze watch for parts of Pennsylvania and New York. There's a frost advisory for Wisconsin. So that's how cold we're talking about behind this front. But again, that stuff not coming down, it's instead moving toward the east. So we don't get that main source of the cold. But this is what we're doing. You got plans early Sunday morning. If you step out the door before 9 in the morning, these are the temperatures that you could see, maybe even before 8 in the morning. These are the temperatures you could see Sunday morning. 50s, 59 degrees in Biloxi. 59 degrees in Ocean Springs, 57 in Moss Point, 59 in Long Beach, maybe around 60 in Gulfport, maybe around 60 in Bay St. Louis. But overall, a lot of 50s. And I mean, Wiggins, come on, 56 sweater weather. I mean, come on, it's getting down there. That's going to be quite the chill for you. Now, if you wait too late to walk outside, if you wait till after 10 in the morning, after 11 in the morning, it's not going to be that cool anymore. So those are kind of your morning low temperatures. If we take a look at the next 4 mornings, there you go. With Thursday morning, tomorrow morning, still some upper 60s, so it's still mild tomorrow morning. Friday morning, middle 60s. It's still kind of mild, but you know, it's going to feel a little bit better. Saturday morning, 50s and 60s, and that could be kind of chilly, especially for the inland areas. This doesn't tell the whole story, though, because I know it says inland 50s, coast 60s, but you will get these 50s on the coast in Jackson County due to the Pascagoula River drainage set up there. Sunday also looking at a range of 50s and 60s. Sunday morning, probably the coolest morning over the weekend. And again, just keep in mind that it's going to be certainly on the cooler side for those mornings. Now, the afternoons, it's still going to be kind of warm. This afternoon, we're looking at upper 80s with a lot of humidity. Tomorrow afternoon, we're still looking at upper 80s, but the humidity is going away, so it might not feel as hot tomorrow. Now, Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, down into the lower 80s, plus there's no humidity to really care about. But remember, you're waking up in the 50s in some spots Saturday, so you might get fooled. You'll wake up Saturday morning, oh my gosh, it's cool out there, but then you go into the afternoon and you got an 83 degree temperature. So don't be tricked by the cool morning because it could still become a pretty warm afternoon. So a lot to look forward to as far as Cruisin the Coast is concerned, with the grand finale coming up this weekend and the weather being very cooperative. I know we started the week with some rain chances, but it does look like things are looking up as we get into the fast lane for the weekend. It is going to improve weather-wise in the local area, and I'm just, seeing great weather. Let the top down, as far as Cruisin the Coast is concerned. I did want to briefly touch on the tropics because we mentioned yesterday that there was a system that was going to form. So let's take a look at the tropical update right before we go. It's going to just take a moment to pop that up as I find the information. So there we go. We've got Jerry, which is the latest named system. Okay, there it is. We've got Jerry, which is the latest named system out in the Atlantic. Just briefly going to touch on this. It's got max winds of 50 miles an hour. It's moving quick. at 23 miles an hour to the west-northwest. The latest information shows that it is still forecast to become a hurricane. So there's the forecast track with Jerry, and you can see that it does reach Category 1 strength, making a close brush with some of the Northeast Caribbean islands. So just keep that in mind, that if you're hearing about Tropical Storm Jerry, that's what they're talking about, and it is not a threat to the Gulf Coast. So the good news for Cruisin the Coast 2025 continues to be that there are no tropical impacts to Cruisin the Coast here, just some nice weather. There's also a separate area in the Bay of Campeche, but that's not going to be able to come up here because we got a cool front coming in tomorrow, and that's going to sweep away anything tropical. So that keeps us protected from any kind of tropical weather as we go into the next several days. The Futurecast, again, showing, look out here. You know, the area that the National Hurricane Center is watching is way down here. So it's way down there. And as we go through time, this cool front comes in, this little area is getting swept into Mexico, basically. So that's why it can't come up here, because the cool front is blocking. It's working as a blocker for the northern Gulf. So that area of tropical weather just gets swept into Mexico, and we're doing very fine here. So just nothing but good news for you for Cruisin the Coast for the rest of the time period here. Just don't be caught off guard by those chilly mornings over the weekend. But we'll have more time tomorrow, more time on Friday to get into more of the nitty-gritty details about those cooler or kind of almost chilly mornings on the way. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this Wednesday edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. See you around.
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.